Evening to you. Breaking tonight on The Late Show Live, Lucy Powell has been elected Labour's new deputy leader, and her very first move, well, take a victory lap by trashing her own boss. She criticised Keir Starmer's government more than 20 times in her speech, and in my book, that's not unity, that's mutiny. Powell says Labour isn't bold enough.
People feel that this government is not being bold enough in delivering the kind of change we promised.
Translation, Keir Starmer is a wet blanket. She says Labour won't win by trying to out-reform reform.
We won't win by trying to out-reform reform, but by building a broad progressive consensus.
And here's another translation. Starmer's too scared of Nigel Farage. I think that's right, isn't it? Oh, and losing anyway. She rejects migration as the cause of many of Britain's problems.
He wants to blame immigration for all the country's problems. We reject that.
Yeah, well, you can say that, but you can't escape the very fact that the public wants the boat stopped. Otherwise, you're doing nothing but swimming against the tide. She also says Farage has run away with the debate.
It starts with us wrestling back the political megaphone and setting the agenda more strongly. Because let's be honest, we've let Farage and his ilk run away with it.
Well, sorry to point out the obvious, but that's because I guess he has. Reform talks straight, Labour dithers. And she also says she'll change the culture in Labour.
As your deputy, my commitment is to change the culture to get this right.
Here's another translation. She's saying there that she'll hound Starmer every time he blinks. Now, just imagine this for a second. Vice President J.D. Vance here in America stepping out of the White House and hammering President Trump's policies, saying America's too tough on immigration. Could you imagine it? It's absolutely unthinkable. In America, a president and a vice president falling out is a constitutional crisis, but in Britain, it's just Saturday morning in the Labour Party. So what's the big picture? Labour didn't elect a deputy leader, they elected a deputy rebel, a rival in plain sight. And Sir Keir Starmer thought he had a majority, but what he really has is a mutiny.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, Tally Money is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of Tally Money, Cameron Parry. What is Tally Money?
Well, at Tally Money, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code, an account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. But we still need money in our daily lives, and we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just living credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning. You need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponize against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward. And that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
Okay, brilliant. Cameron Parry from Tally Money. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
Well, let's get more now from the former Conservative MP, Louise Mensch, who joins me live down the line from New York. Louise, thank you for your company once again. What's your take on Louise Powell as the new Deputy Labour leader, Lucy Powell?
It takes quite a lot for me to feel sorry for Sir Keir Starmer, but I do actually feel a little bit sorry for him. I mean, let's go through the list, shall we? Embarrassing deputy, full of gaffes, recently fired, incredibly disloyal to her boss, throwing lobs from the sidelines. It looks like Lucy Powell is the white Kamala Harris. That's what we're looking at, the white Kamala Harris. This is a woman who said that it was nothing more than a dog whistle to have an inquiry about grooming gangs when it was brought up on any questions. And then she said she was misquoted, but that was quite frankly a lie, to use unparliamentary language. She wasn't misquoted. We all heard her. She said, "Oh, you're going to blow that racist little dog whistle, are you, talking about grooming gangs?"
Can I play that clip, Louise? I've got the clip. Can I just remind our viewers of it? Do you mind?
Please, go ahead.
I don't know whether you saw the documentary on Channel 4 about rape gangs.
No, we want to blow that little trumpet now, do we? Yeah, okay.
There was a real issue.
Let's get that dog whistle out, shall we? Yeah.
Here we go, Louise. That's what you were just talking about there. I mean, so as I said in the introduction, you've got Lucy Powell who said that about the grooming gangs, and you've got her own boss, the Prime Minister, saying that an inquiry was a far-right bandwagon. I mean, it's just beggars belief.
Well, I don't think it does beg a belief, unfortunately, because I find it all too easy to believe. This is what they really think. This is what they really think before the public outrage, and then they say they were misconstrued and it was hard to understand. We all just heard her. She said, "blowing your little trumpet." And she was, to put it frankly, snarky about the horrific abuse that these girls had sustained. And when she says that we believe that immigration is not responsible for all Britain's problems, I've got a question for her. Do you believe it's responsible for any of Britain's problems? Are you willing to do anything about the number one issue for the voters today? In short, I think Keir Starmer started at the bottom and then managed to go even further down. I feel really sorry for him, and I don't know what I would do if I were him other than just resign. I think I would probably quit.
Well, talking of the Prime Minister, this is what he said about the appointment of Lucy Powell as his deputy. Let's take a quick look.
Lucy has always been a proud defender of Labour values, and that is exactly what we need at this moment. We need to come together to defend those values, values that are not just Labour values, but also British values: decency, compassion, respect for difference, optimism about the future, and pride in all the people and communities that make this country so great.
It's very easy for us to sit here and say, yeah, Labour are awful, they're down in the polls, aren't they terrible? But what do you think, from your experience as a seasoned politician, what could they do in the coming years, the next 3 or 4 years, to really kind of pull themselves up from their bootstraps? What should they be doing?
What they should be doing is they should be doing some of the things that the Tories, and to a lesser extent Reform, have suggested about this, and then just say that they reflect Labour values. In politics, I want to tell you the truth now, it's always really important to declare victory and leave. Labour does believe that the small boats should be stopped. OK, fine, start there. All you need to do is nick the ideas that the people like from the other two parties. Quite simply, pass legislation with your gigantic supermajority to get us out of the EHCR, abolish the Human Rights Act, take away judges' powers to stop immigration. Do you know what would happen then? The boats would stop, because you would be able to deport migrants and they wouldn't be able to come back. If you did all of those things, he could be re-elected. He's got 4 years. The fact is, Ben, you and I both know he's not going to do that. No chance.
I know, it just seems insane to me, because He could, like you said, he could get 2 terms. He could get 2 terms as a Prime Minister if he just listens to the polling, listens to what people want. I mean, is it arrogance? I don't know. Is it political naivety? I'm not sure. I'm going to bring in my panel now here in Washington, D.C., the political commentator Hilary Fordwich and the broadcaster and journalist Angelina Mackay. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for your company. I'll start with the Brit. Sorry, Angelina.
Okay.
Stay loyal to my countrywoman. What's your take on Lucy Powell as a deputy for Labour?
Well, what I would say is I think that she's trying to be relatable. Obviously, she's speaking to issues that she thinks the British public care about. But the problem is it's all rhetoric, Ben. We've heard this before, and they actually don't do anything about it. I think what people want is they want safety, they want security, they want prosperity. That is the same absolutely everywhere. In America, it's referred to as pocketbook issues, and in England, it's your handbag. You know, you want to be able to pay your bills. And I think, as I say, her rhetoric is good, but it's the same old, same old. I don't think she's any different than two-tier Keir.
Angelina, what would happen if JD Vance came out the Rose Garden today and started slamming Trump's immigration policies and ICE raids and so on?
It definitely would not end well. I mean, you know Trump. He appreciates the loyalty. The Trump administration is very loyal to each other, and they are a cohesive unit. That's something that you will see with Donald Trump. So it definitely wouldn't come out like this. I mean, JD Vance's really real power is in influence. So whether what he says to the media, that can influence the president or decisions that the president makes. But beyond that...
would he sack him, do you think, Trump?
I'm sorry?
Would he sack Vance? Can he just sack him, or does he need sort of a vote in Congress or something?
He'll probably sack him. I don't think Donald Trump cares what the rules are. He does what he wants and what he thinks is best for America. And if that meant sacking JD Vance, he would just do it.
Louise, what do you think he'd do if Vance did that?
Well, he actually can't constitutionally sack the Vice President, neither can Congress. The Vice President is directly elected and therefore unsackable. But the fact is, Donald Trump holds the Conservative movement in America in the palm of his hand. He could effectively sack JD Vance by saying, when you run for president, I'm going to endorse the other guy. You know, everybody has to obey Donald Trump. He is effectively the king of the Republicans. I'm not saying that in a snarky way. I quite admire the way that he's taking control of his party. I've got to be honest, I have a sneaking admiration for it. And JD Vance knows that he has to toe the line. Now, the lady there said that the one thing that the Vice President does do is messaging. She's absolutely right. Let's transfer this to Lucy Powell. She can only do messaging as well. She's got no actual power of any kind. And what does she do with her power of messaging? She attacks her boss. She shows the nation that the party of government is not unified and is actually riven from top to toe. It couldn't be worse, frankly. It just couldn't be worse for the Labour Party.
So you mentioned that President Trump there has the Republican Party in the palm of his hand. I think it was Rand Paul today saying that he reckons there's 20-odd GOP senators who privately, behind closed doors, are absolutely aghast with some of the policies he's endorsing, saying he's going over, he's crossing the line, it's unconstitutional with the ICE raids and so on. But they're so terrified to speak out in public, such is the influence and the power President Trump has. But do you think Keir Starmer has that same kind of grasp of the Labour Party?
No, I mean, if you're asking me, absolutely not. Of course he doesn't, and we've just seen that. Not only are they not willing to just toe the line and pull themselves out of the abyss, they're actually falling over themselves to attack him. We used to say that a guy like that looked like a hedgehog because he got so many knives sticking out of his back. First it's Andy Burnham, now it's zone number 2. I mean, this guy cannot catch a break. Like I said, I'm on the other side of the political fence to him in Britain, but I feel a bit sorry for him.
Louise, before I let you go, and appreciate your time, I think you'll be back in the next hour, but what do you make as a former Tory of Katie Lamb, the MP? She's been billed as this sort of new future Tory rising star, maybe a leader. Is she what the Tory party need?
I think she's one of quite a few. They've got quite a lot of talent on that bench, and I do actually think she is coming forward with what the people really want. It doesn't hurt that she's a woman and she's a bit Mrs. Thatcher-like. People are just crying out for the same kitchen sink, old-fashioned, common sense values, and they don't really care whether the party in front is called Reform, Labour or the Conservatives. What the British people like is sort of conservative centrism, and if she can articulate that with a tough manner, that's what people want, some toughness, I think she'll go far.
Louise, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time, and I think you're joining us again in the next hour, so I'll catch up with you then. Louise Mensch, former Tory MP. Ladies, what were you going to say about Rand Paul and President Trump?
Yeah, what I was going to say is, you know how all the Republicans are absolutely on board? They all use actually the same line. They'll say, I'm not going to get in front of the president on this. If you ask them something about, like, for example, Scott Bessent, and you ask him about what's going to happen with trade, and you ask him about a certain deal, what he actually always say is, I'm not going to get in front of the president on this. And I think it's Susie Wiles in the White House has them all literally, in quotes, singing from the same hymn sheet. So they're all lockstep behind President Trump. It actually is very good and effective policy-wise.
Yeah, I mean, it's just cohesion, isn't it? It's
exactly.
From a pure PR perspective, as an electorate or a voter, you can see the government working in cohesion, stepping forward together.
And that's what it should be.
Have you heard, Angelina, about these Rand Paul's claim that there are sort of 20-odd Republican senators who disagree with Trump, but they're just terrified to speak out?
No, I haven't heard this claim yet. But I mean, that would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised. People are scared to speak out against the Trump administration. You're right, their strategy has been cohesion, and I will say that's been a great strategy. You don't always see that on the Democratic side, or even in the traditional Republican side. That's why this populist party really took control and won. They have a strong support system and this cohesive group.
Yeah. Which they did not in the first administration, and I think President Trump learned his lesson then. They were all backstabbing each other.
Yeah, there were a lot of people let go.
Yeah,
right?
it's just insane that Keir Starmer can't do the same thing with his massive stonking majority. He's got loads of new MPs who will definitely not, rock the boat at this stage.
Doesn't have the majority now in Wales, though.
No, absolutely, trounced. gbnews.com/you'll say, thank you for your comments. Logical, responsible, you have said. Good evening. Starmer says today, Lucy Powell has the skills and drive we need in the Labour Party. Then why on earth did he sack her then? Just a few weeks ago, what a hypocrite. And Kat Zeb, you've said, Starmer says Labour values are set out in compassion and including all, but the only ones he defends seem to be Muslims. He's giving 10 million to Muslims to pamper them for alleged attacks, yet he's encouraged anti-Semitism and not given a penny to Jewish communities. Thank you for those comments. Keep them coming in.